Now we're going to start on carburetors. And I've got a lot of comments which are interesting. So I want to clear a few things up with some simple physics about the carbs. One gentleman has, and these are my carbs. Okay, this is a 30 millimeter Oco. This is a Cayenne Sudco, the most expensive one. Very nice carb. This is a real Cayenne. This is a real Makuni 28 millimeter D-slide, brand new, still virgin. This is one that I've used, the same thing, but this one has got a gremlin or something in it. It's not, it works and it doesn't work, and I still can't figure out why on that. Anyway, when putting on a carb onto your bike, there used to be this old wives' tale about, well, you put on a bigger carb, you get more gas and you get more power. No, you won't. Because the size of the carb diameter, say like this 30 right here, you see how big that is compared to this intake? Well, it's a little bit bigger because this is set up for like a 28. The deal is you can have a carb on this as big around as this pipe right here, or twice as big, 3 times as big. You could have it as big as this cylinder on this, but your airflow will only be as good or as efficient as this diameter right here. And if this diameter goes into a smaller diameter into the motor right here, then it will cancel this out. So if you have a giant carb and a restrictive intake, then you're wasting your time, because your airflow is only as good as your smallest area. For instance, let me put it this way. In this living room right here, let's say that this living room, which is my living room, from this wall over here to this wall over here is your carb intake, or your carb. But that hallway right there is the part that goes into the motor. Your airflow will only be as big as that hallway right there. It doesn't matter how big the outstanding area is, anything. If you have a restricted area that goes into your engine like this, that's all you got. So a bigger carb won't do you any good. Now that's the problem we have with these little motors, is that they have a small intake. The only way to make the intake larger, which would be this area right here, there might be a way to do that. But we have to look at the theory of horsepower, which works on this motor, a weed whacker, a 426 Hemi engine, a 5,000 horsepower dragster engine. These are air pumps. The more air and fuel that we can put through the intake into the cylinder and out through the exhaust, cubic feet per minute or second, the more power you will create. Our weak spot is this part right here, this intake. These motors were not designed to be built this big. Case in point, these engines come with a stock carburetor which is 14 millimeters in diameter. That means that this intake right here is 14 millimeters across. Okay, this is 28 millimeters. It doesn't say right there, but it is. This one is 30 millimeters. Now, I, as an experimenter, bought a 30 millimeter Oco, and Ocos are, I have 3 or 4 of these Most of them are 28s, but I did buy a 30 to see if it would work better. It doesn't. It doesn't because the law of physics will not allow it to work. If I had a 30 millimeter intake, which would be from here to here, and I had 30 millimeters down here, then it would work correctly. But there's another problem too. Now think about this just for a minute. With these engines, they will win or lose by math. Just like a sniper says. Sniper that works in the army or whatever, they don't kill you with a gun, they kill you with math. They can fire a gun or a rifle at a mile. But in order to do that, they have to understand the physics of the atmosphere and the gravity and all that, wind and things, in order to get from point A to point B. Same with the engines. Now think about this for just a moment. Can you imagine having a carburetor back here with a pipe going to the intake? Have you ever seen that? Carburetor right here, going right there. Or generally, these carburetors are connected very closely to the intake. You think, well, why is that? Why don't they just put a foot wide pipe, or 2 feet, or hell, why don't they just put it out here, you know, and make it look really cool with a lot of bling and a pipe there? You can't do it that way. The reason is these intakes are designed, and this is my simple terms for it, I'm not a math expert, is that the amount of area inside here has to match the amount of area inside here and the reed valve before it goes to the engine. It can't be too much back farther, and it can't be too close. Now the math and everything about it, it's beyond me. All I know is that it won't work. If you have a small 28 millimeter intake like this, you can only use a 28 or smaller carb. You can't use a 30. It won't do you any good because this restricts it. Or 32 or 35 or 38. Harley's, I think, use a 38 or 40 or something like that. Alright, next video.